Hi everybody!
Hi, this is Deirdre and Karen from Caker's World, and we're here to do our first tutorial on how to make gum paste. And I'd also like to welcome on communications my 14-year-old son, David.
Say hi, David.
Hello.
So any questions, David will let me know and I'll try my best to answer them. So I'm going to start, as I said on the introduction there during the week, I'm doing a recipe from Nicholas Lodge. So it's not my own recipe, it's from Nicholas Lodge in America, okay? That I posted up online, but just in case, it's 725 grams of icing sugar, and I prefer to use gem, but I've used sugar, so anything that you've actually got available is fine. There's 125 grams of egg white, pasteurized egg white, so it can be fresh eggs or you can use like the Eggo. And then there is 30 grams of Tylo powder. I sometimes reduce that down to 25. I can find sometimes that it can be a little bit rubbery, so if you don't like it too kind of rubbery and stretchy, you can use, you can reduce it down a little bit. Okay. You also have to bear with us. This is our very first time to do any kind of a Facebook Live, so we're a little bit
nervous.
We're a little bit nervous and a little bit very new to all of this.
And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. The lovely David here will call them out to us, and he'll type in or he'll let us know what they are, and we can tell you the answers.
Okay. So I'm just going to move over to the table here.
I'm just going to turn us around.
So I have everything weighed out. I have the icing sugar here that's sieved, so 725 grams. I have my Tylo powder, and I've just used the one that Karen has downstairs. It's Sugarcraft Essentials Tylo powder, so any Tylo powder will actually do fine. My egg whites are in here, and if you prefer to sieve them, you can sieve them, that's fine. And then I have 20 grams here of, I've actually got Crisco, but it's Trex or Crisco. You can't use cooking, okay, so it is either Crisco or Trex. Okay, and before I start, I'm just going to do my little hand sanitizing. A little squirty out there just to be, better to be safe than sorry. So the first thing we have to do is to put the egg whites into the mixing bowl with the K-beater, and just put it on, not too fast, and it just breaks up the egg whites a little bit. So we're going to have a little bit of noise for part of our demonstration. So this just breaks up the egg whites.
It's a little bit behind, so just say. Okay.
And I don't know if Karen wants to have a quick look in the bowl at the breaking up of the egg whites.
It's so interesting.
So
almost hypnotic.
I lower that down a little bit, and then I just, a little bit at a time, I start putting in the icing sugar. Okay, and I want this to become the consistency of royal icing, so it does become shiny. Okay, so keep
Hi
it
Marion. Marion just said hello.
Hi Marion. Just keep it on low so your icing sugar doesn't go all over the place. So just nice and slowly. And I've been making this petal paste for quite a long time. I find that it doesn't dry very quickly, so if you're very new to working with flours or flour paste, you get a little bit longer of working time. So I'll gently just scoop it all in there like that. Oops.
Hi Patricia.
Hi, David.
Valentina.
Oh, hi Valentina.
So if you can just have a look in the bowl there, Karen. Okay, so I just fired that up for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now I'm just going to maybe not give it as long this time just because we're doing our live demo. So while that's beating away there in the background, I'll just show you one that I've already made yesterday. So when it's kind of, sorry? Oh, it's frozen.
It's frozen. Seems to be fine. It says it's fine. Has it stopped, has it?
I think we're having a few technical difficulties, so we're not sure if it's frozen or not.
If anyone can let us know, can you see us? Or is it moving? Hi Vivian.
So we're alright?
Are we okay?
Are you alright, David? David, click out and click in again. Sorry.
behind.
Okay. Okay, so a few little technical difficulties there we're having. Okay. So when the paste is actually made, it ends up in a sausage about this size. Now I've used a little bit of this already today to actually, I was making queenie roses at home. When it's made, it's in white. Okay. If you want to colour it, you can colour it at the stage that we're doing at the moment. So as it's mixing into the consistency of the royal icing, you can add colour into it. Okay. And I find actually if you know you're going to need a lot of roses or a lot of leaves, colour it green at the start and just be done with it, rather than trying to mix it up, because you know you might do 2/3 of it and then you realise you need another third and you'll never get the same green or the same pink. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here.
Thanks everyone for letting us know it's okay.
And if I just lower it down just to show you what it looks like at the moment. Sorry. Okay. So if I just hold it up to the camera there, oops, you can see it there. It's kind of a little bit like soft peak royal icing. Yeah. So I'm just going to scrape all that down back into the center of the bowl. Okay. You can also let us know what your preferred petal paste to use is at home. You might have used this before, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, if you've used it before, let us know what you think, and if there's a particular one you like. Hi Edwina, if there's a particular one you like, let us know.
Okay, so I'm just going to turn this back on again, and again I'm just going to keep it low. Karen, there we go.
It's not my fault you don't actually
and
use it.
You're going to put your Tylo powder in slowly. Don't tend to just put it all in one blob. So
this is your Tylo powder.
And so just dusting it in.
Okay, Edna is asking, did we use the Crisco in this?
I use Crisco in this one.
Oh, Crisco, sorry.
If I have Crisco, I use Crisco. If I have Trex, I don't really have a preference. It's just whatever's available on the day when I'm making it.
And just, Edna, we sell both here in Caker's World. If you look on the website, you'll find both of them.
Okay, put the camera in there. You'll just see how it's getting slightly thicker. Okay, so just put it all in there. And remember to keep it on low when you're doing this. And once it's all in, now I often give this a little press down because sometimes I find at home on my own K-beater that it doesn't really hit the bottom of the bowl. So I just press that down to make sure it's getting it all up. And then I'm just going to put this on a little bit faster. Again, if Karen wants to come over, just have a quick look in the bowl. You can see how it's kind of getting stringier.
Yeah.
That's my new word, stringier.
Stringier.
Okay.
You're welcome, Edna, no problem.
Okay, so I'm just going to turn it off now. And that's basically the bit that's in the bowl. Okay, so I'm going to take this off and you can see it's already quite, if I pinch it there.
Oh yeah. It's very doughy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry everybody, I've never done this, I'm learning this too.
So I'm just going to bring it over here onto my work surface. Now, if you've looked at the recipe yesterday, there was an extra 100 grams of sugar. That's really if your paste is very sticky and you feel that it might need the extra sugar. I think I've only added it once in all the time that I've been making it. I usually find that it's actually alright. If you start adding too much icing sugar in, it kind of dries a little bit and it starts to get a little bit more rubbery.
What's Patricia's always saying? Clean as you go, clean as you go.
Yes. So I'm going to take all this out of the bowl and you can see it's already kind of quite thick at this stage. Hard to get it out. See, it's quite tough even to get it out of the bowl. This will be our workout for the day. You don't even have to go outside into the fresh air.
No, you can stay in all day and make flour paste.
And I hope you're all keeping safe indoors.
Staying inside.
Lots of fun with practicing
social distancing.
Social distancing, but flowers more to the point and
yes.
other cakes. I'm going to try and do about 2 or 3 new flowers a week that I haven't done before, just to keep myself busy.
It's a good idea. Oh, Valentina's asking, did we add the Trex already?
No, the Trex is still here in the bowl. Now, sometimes I actually put it into the bowl with the mix, but more often than not I just keep it out. But we're going to add it now at this stage, so I put a little bit...
Sorry, Deirdre, I think a few people missed the very beginning. Do you mind doing a quick recap?
So, to recap, we had 725 grams of sieved icing sugar. we had 125 grams of pasteurized egg whites, and again they can be just fresh eggs, or they could be the Eggo or the tub of pasteurized eggs that you can buy. So I put the eggs into the bowl, I just broke them up a little bit with the K-beater, I slowly added the sugar, I beat it for about 3 to 4 minutes on about a medium speed, okay, until it resembled royal icing. So you know, like the what's the stage again? Soft peak and royal icing. And then I lowered it down to about a number 1 or number 2 on the mixer, and I slowly added I had 30 grams there of Tylo powder. Okay.
Suzanne is asking, could you do a smaller amount? It seems like an awful lot at once.
You can do. I've never done. I've always done this size. The thing is that it lasts for 6 months in the fridge. Okay. Or you can cut it up into smaller amounts, put it into Ziploc bags, and throw it into the freezer, and then you just take it out as you need it. So you could do half the amount, but if you're doing a lot of flowers, I would just go with this amount and just put it into the freezer.
Francis, thank you very much. Francis says we're both doing great.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm kneading now I'm kneading the paste, but I'm also kneading the Trex into it as well, or the Trex or the Crisco. So if I say Crisco, it can be Trex or vice versa.
And just to let you know, we do sell both in the shop here. So if you look up cakersworld.com, or the shop is still open. We're practicing social distancing and so on. Or we can collect at the door as well.
Okay. So I'm just going to give that a scrape up again. Okay, and just put another little bit in. And if you're working with it, just when this is finished, I'm going to wrap it up in cling film, and I'm going to put it into the fridge for 24 hours. Okay. When you take it out, if you start working and you think it's a little bit tough, you can add another little bit of Trex into it. And though I've never done it before, I have seen online where people are, or sorry, not people, but cakers are adding
cakers are people too.
Well, I know that. I just wanted to, people. You can add a little bit of sugar paste into it, so it even makes it a little bit softer. But I've never done that myself. So this is what it looks like now. Okay, so you get a nice piece of flour paste. Okay, when you pinch it, it should pinch really, really, really thin. Okay, see how? Now, if that was to keep sticking to my fingers, I would actually add another little bit of icing sugar into it. But as I said before, it's only ever happened like once or twice that I've added a little bit in. Other than that,
I take it the weather would have something to do with it, wouldn't it?
It can do. I don't find it's affected that much because it would be kind of humid down in the States.
Yeah.
I've never had it like it's always been pretty good when I've made it. You might find sometimes that maybe if you used a different Tylo powder, do you know the way you just might be short of a brand and you might run out and get something in the shop. I found it before, it's just gone a little bit harder, so that's why I kind of, when I get used to one brand, I know if I add too much and it's rubbery the next time, I just reduce it down, and I've kind of gone down as far as 25 grams as opposed to 30. Okay, so what I can do then is I put a little bit of, I'll use the Crisco here, put a little bit of Crisco just on the paste, just to stop it from skinning over when it's in the cling film. Okay, sorry, it's a bit non-sticky here now myself, so a little bit like that. You get some cling film. Okay, so just wrap it in the cling film.
Someone asks, did you add Trex?
No, we added Crisco.
We added Crisco, but Crisco or Trex is the same thing.
Both are fine.
Okay, so I just wrap it up there. Okay, make sure it's sealed at both ends so that it doesn't go hard or dry. I would put that into a Ziploc bag and then I put that into the fridge until tomorrow. Okay, that's in the ideal world. Okay, I have left it for 2 hours and start making flowers, and it's absolutely fine. Okay, if you look at the flowers over here, I've made this peony rose and these roses using this Nicholas Lodge's paste. And again, I say this is not my recipe. This is Nicholas Lodge's recipe in the States. Okay.
Here's a question.
Yes.
Okay. Can you use gum tragacanth instead of Tylo? Is one stronger than the other?
The gum tricanth is a little bit stronger, so I would reduce down. I would try it at 25 first, 25 grams. And if you find that it's very sticky and very kind of difficult to work with, I would reduce it down even further.
Sorry, Gail is after asking, she hasn't added her Crisco. Did she miss that stage? Gail, it should have been added, you say?
When you're kneading it, Gail, so when you've taken it out of your bowl and you put it onto the table here, you can, almost as if you were rubbing it onto your hands, and just knead it into the paste.
Okay, let us know if that answered your question there, Gail.
I think there might be a few people actually making it along with me.
Yeah.
If you need me to go back in, do you want me to go back on the steps again? Would you like me to go back over the steps?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, the recipe again, 725 grams of icing sugar that you would have sieved. Okay. Put that aside in a bowl. In your mixing bowl, break up 125 grams of egg whites.
They both said thanks.
Okay. So when that's broken up, slowly add your icing sugar into the bowl. Okay, have it on a low speed, so maybe 2 or 3. Let that come up to the consistency of royal icing. So it should be a little bit shiny and should be like soft peaks, almost a little bit like meringue if you're not used to royal icing. Okay. Well, leave that on for about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay. Lower it back down. Scrape down the side and slowly with a spoon add your Tylo powder into the mix that you have in your bowl. And it starts to get thick and kind of, it doesn't look like it's changing, but actually if you put your hand into the bowl once the mixer's off, obviously, it is quite strong.
Yes, don't do it while it's on.
Don't do it while it's on. So then take it out, put it onto your board and add in your Trex. Now I have at some stages before when I was making it in a hurry just added the Trex into the bowl at the end. It doesn't really make too much of a difference, but obviously if you're following the recipe you'll do when it's on the board.
Susan White is asking, do you use whole eggs and separate?
I separate the eggs. I've also bought Eggo before, which is like, I think it's a litre of pasteurised egg whites that you can get in some of the supermarkets. So I've used that, and there was no difference between 125 grams of the fresh pasteurised eggs or 125 grams of the one that comes from the container. They were both measured the same.
Okay.
Okay, and then I wrap it up, put a little bit of Crisco or Trex onto it, and that just stops it kind of drying out a little bit. Wrap it up in your cling film, okay, put it into a Ziploc bag, and ideally put it into the fridge for 24 hours. And then when you've done that, you can start using it the next day, take it out and let it come down to room temperature. You can cut it up into small amounts and put it into little small Ziploc bags and put it into the freezer. Or you can keep it in the fridge for up to 6 months. Okay, so that is the petal paste made. So I would put that into my fridge and leave it be. Obviously I've made some yesterday, so I'm going to show you how it all works. I'm going to wash my hands here really quick.
And if anyone has any other questions, go ahead and ask. And will we watch her hand washing technique? If she got it correct, show us now. Did you do it properly?
Happy birthday to you.
Whose birthday is it?
Is it?
Ah, so you do it for long enough?
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, go on, go.
I'm not going to sing it. Okay, yes.
Valentina said thanks for the recap. No problem. Jen said thank you. Hi, Jen.
Right.
All right, we'll you can all rate Deirdre on her hand washing technique, and let us know what you thought.
Now, if I had a proper, well, I do have a proper bin, I should be.
Oh, like a surgeon, like a surgeon.
I promised myself tonight that I wouldn't mention the thing that's going on outside.
The thing that shall not be named.
Yeah. So I'll just name this down a little bit.
No problem, Viviane. Viviane is saying thank you for the recipe.
You're very welcome. So I'm just going to put this down here. Okay, so this is the paste.
No problem, Pamela. Pamela's saying brilliant. She never knew it was so easy to make.
Yes. And as I said before, it's really good if you're learning how to do flowers for the first time, because I find Squires is really good and it's really popular, but it just dries.
And it says well washed.
Well washed. You've gotten your first compliment for your hand washing.
It doesn't dry, and when you make the flowers using this paste, it doesn't dry as brittle as Squires paste would. So if I have a flower and I drop it, it's going to break. It's just going to go into smithereens on your countertop.
Yeah.
Okay. I have dropped on regular occasions flowers made from Nicholas Lodge, and
I've dropped that peony a few times.
Have you?
I have, yeah.
And
it's still fine.
It doesn't break, so there's a little bit of flexibility in it. Okay.
Yep, this peony has been dropped at least 3 times, and it has not broken.
So I'm going to take a little piece of the paste off and just show you then. So it's kind of, I don't know if Karen can actually get that. It's kind of soft and.
Oh, I'm glad you're watching
soft and
too. Anna says she's loving delight to be
squidgy.
watching.
Kind of squidgy.
Let's go. Give them.
Anna says Loving this.
Oh, it is
So
kind
I
of
continue
squidgy.
watching.
It's kind of
It's
squishy.
kind of spongy.
Yeah. So as with all paste, give it a knead before you actually start to work with it, okay? If your hands are sticky, you can use corn flour, little corn flour bags. Or again, you can put a little bit of Trex or Crisco. Okay, I usually just put it up onto the side of my table there. Okay, just put it onto my hands and just give this a little mix. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit of that back. I just really want to show you how it works and how flexible it is. Okay, so you can see there, it's nice and soft.
And this stuff was made yesterday, was it?
This was made yesterday. Yes, in the middle of learning how to do, I don't know, some kind of maths and projects on Norway, and this is our new life now. School starts very early in the morning in our house. Okay, so this is it.
Oh, Marion said squidgy is good.
Squidgy. It's a new term again. Squidgy.
Yes, I was testing the squidginess, Suzanne.
So when you're working with petal paste, the first thing you have to remember is it's white, and it does, like sugar paste, it picks up everything that's in the air. So even if you're in a room and you've got your clean jacket on and your white cotton top, it's going to pick up little bits of fluff. So I would take a little bit of paste and just roll around in my hand so that if there's any bits,
I do that as well.
We've washed our hands and we've dried them, there still can be little fibres on your hand. So just give it a little roll around here.
Anna is just asking how long will it keep for?
If you keep it in the fridge, it'll keep for 6 months. Okay, but you keep for up to a year, maybe a year and a half if you keep it in the freezer. Okay, so just cut it up small. I don't know, but over in here in Ireland, you can get the little Ziploc bags. They're only little tiny ones. I think you
can get them in IKEA.
International as well.
Oh, the little. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The old bakery.
Yeah.
I think the old bakery had them. I've seen them before.
Yeah.
I just put a little bit of wrapped up in it, so it would be nearly about 2 ounces is what I would actually put into that bag. So cut it up into 2 ounces, cling film into the bag and into the freezer.
Alina, don't worry. You can watch this from the beginning again. Later, Alina is saying she missed the beginning.
Maybe recap at the end.
We'll do a recap at the end, Alina, and then you can rewatch it later if you like. So don't be worrying. Okay, go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just taking a little bit just to roll it out and show you how easy it is to roll. And again, any excess paste, keep it in your bag because it does air dry like every other paste. And you can also mix this with other paste. So if you were using Squire's, you can just add a little bit into the Squire's paste as well. So, you know, there's no problem mixing it. Okay. So I'm just going to put it down on my board and I'm going to grab a rolling pin. Here, excuse me a second. And another thing I tend to do with my rolling pins as well, just before I roll, is actually I rub my hand up like that and down like that. Just in case there's any little bits of paste that might be stuck on from something I did earlier, or there might be a little bit of dust or anything like that. Okay, so I just roll it. So you can see. Now you might pick it up and just turn it that way.
I'll come up closer when you're doing
How
this.
thin. Okay, let me pick it up again. So it's really, really thin at this stage. So you can.
Someone has a question now.
Just 1 second. See how thin it is. So if I put it over.
Gail is asking, I still have my 100 grams of icing sugar. Was that extra in case it was too sticky?
Yes,
yes,
that's
it
extra
was.
in case it's too sticky.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a very seldom that I would actually end up adding that in. I find if you add too much of the icing sugar in, especially with that extra 100 grams, you tend to kind of think it has to go in. If your paste is sticky, add a little bit in. If it's not, just don't add it in.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to show you kind of how thin I've gone with this. So if I put it over the...
Yeah.
You can actually see...
I hope you all can see that. Can you see that there, David?
Can you see that on yours, David? He's got his earphones in. Okay, so you can see the writing through it. So that's how thin it can go.
That's
okay. So it's
can
really,
even see
really
the
thin.
pattern of the pie
Yeah,
there.
and I've used this paste in the last couple of years for competitions. So when I enter either the Irish ones or the ones in Birmingham, this is what I use. Okay, because I do think it's a little bit forgiving. If you're putting it over your board, okay, to put out something with wires.
Thanks, Pamela. Yeah, Pamela was saying, they could see it.
Good.
And so is Adrina. Thanks, Adrina.
Okay. So if I go to make to roll out paste for petal, and all my students in Caker's World class will know this, I always tend to roll really, really thin. So if you take a piece of paste out to roll one petal, what I advise is that you take half of it and you put it back into your bag and you roll what you've got. If you take out a really, really big piece of petal paste and roll it, your petal is going to be too thick. Okay, so if you have to stretch a little small bit like that to make a petal, you'll end up making it thinner. So again, I'm putting a little bit of corn flour on here. I'm just going to show you how to roll it again. So I'm just using the groove board here for this. Okay. So another thing to remember when you're rolling petals, especially on the groove board, and everybody does it differently, okay? If you're going to cut your petal out, you can't see where the middle of that is. You can't see where the groove is. So you have to pick it up off your board and you have to turn it over so you can see your groove. It's not so bad when you're doing it in white, but if you have a colour paste, you definitely cannot see that groove. And you tend then when you're cutting it out, you either go either side of the groove. Okay, so again, I'm going to put this cutter down. Now this is just a cutter that I picked out of the drawer. Okay, so just a rose petal cutter. Put your hand down, give it a good rub, and make sure you can hear the sound of this scratch. Okay,
Can you hear it?
That scratch means that the cutter has gone right down to the board. Okay, and if you can pick it up in here, that's fine. If not, so that's a nice clean cut. If you don't get it all the way down, what happens is you cut it and then you pull it, and then you end up with all these little straggly bits here, which you then have to go, and when you soften it, you have to get rid of all them.
Oh, I can't see the straggly bits.
See?
Yes, there's straggly.
There's straggly little bits there. They're like little.
There's another question.
How can we add some colour?
When you're making your icing, or when you're making your gum paste, if you wanted to colour the whole lot of it at the same time, when it gets to the royal icing consistency, you can put your colour in there, okay? And if not, I'm going to show you in about 2 or 3 minutes how to actually colour it, okay? So that's just to show you when you actually roll it out how thin it is, okay? And I'm just going to put a wire up here just to show you. I'll be doing another tutorial now on it's Monday, isn't it, that we're doing it?
Monday.
Monday we're doing a peony rose, and I'll go through all the stages of wiring and cutting. And what did I do with my wires? Oh yes, I have wires here. So this is my favourite friend, but I have one of these at home myself for about the last 20 years. A box for my wires, okay?
The most deadly thing ever.
Yeah. So
These things are brilliant.
They're
I
just
love
fabulous. I couldn't.
but you do have to write the gauges on them, otherwise you'll never find which one you're looking for.
And always remember to put your lid back on.
Oh yeah.
Because I have over that 20 years not put the lid on and everything flies out
everywhere, and then you can never get them back in the right spot.
So I'm going to put a little bit of glue. This is, I think it was a 28 gauge wire. Okay, and I just put a little bit of glue onto it. Okay, and I'm just going to put this wire through this groove. So I hold the petal on my hand like this between my thumb and my index finger, and I gently, while turning, put the wire going up that groove. Okay, so you can feel it. If you put your finger up here and you're pushing it in, it's going to come through. And if it comes through, don't panic, take a breath, use bad language if necessary.
Always.
But pull it back out and just go back up again. Okay, so that's just putting a petal in. Or a wire into the petal. So I usually go up 2/3 of the wire. When I'm teaching, I go up 2/3 of the wire, and for students who've come back again and again to classes, we're now not putting them up as far. And if I'm doing competitions, I kind of go in up to about here. Maybe not up as far. But when I'm doing competition work, I don't do a groove, and that's another class.
That's another class altogether.
Okay. So 2/3 of the way up when you're doing petals for the first time. Okay. If I want to soften it, and I'm only just going to throw a few little techniques here just to show you different things that you can do with the paste. So
yeah, the full tutorial for the flour will be done on Monday.
On Monday, we're doing a peony rose. We're doing actually a fluffy peony rose. So the fluffy peony, it's similar to the one that you've seen here, except instead of the center like this, and I will also show you the center, but I'll be making 50 little wired centers to go in here, and I'll demonstrate how to do that on Monday. So we'll be back here on Monday again. That's a smaller version of this.
Oh, we have a question. Colette's asking, how can you wire the petals if you don't have a groove board?
I'll show you now, 2 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll put that aside for a minute, okay? So that is wired. If you don't have a groove board, switch over to this side. Tracks on the board. Now I have at home the really small, the cell pins when I'm doing it, okay? If you don't have a cell pin, you can use a paintbrush. So Again, I'm just going to take a little bit of fresh.
Marian's saying fluffy bouncy peony rose.
Bouncy.
A bouncy peony rose. Valentina said she's looking forward to it.
8 o'clock,
It's
same
same
time.
as well, yeah. We're going for
Same
8
time,
again.
same place.
Same back time.
All the little ones should be in bed at that stage.
Hopefully.
So a little bit of Trex again. Okay,
I'll go up close on this one.
Yeah, I'm just softening the paste again. Even though the paste is soft, you just kind of condition it again just to make it soft and ready for rolling. So again, onto the board like that. And if it's a bit sticky, a little bit of corn flour. Never use icing sugar because that dries out your paste. So if you don't have a groove, this is how you do it. You roll it out a little bit. You can see it's still quite thick down here. Okay. So I put it down and I put my rolling pin straight down like that. And then I move it to an angle. Okay. Actually, I might just do it with the paintbrush to show you because you can see it better.
There's a cell stick somewhere.
I know, but just in case you can't find it.
Okay.
So again, so if I put it straight down like that, okay, and then I move it at a slight angle and I roll that out like that. And you can already see this is thinner and this is thicker. So same on this side, straight down and then move it out. And if I keep kind of doing that, I'm going to go switch back over here for a second. So when I roll it out, I'm still going at that angle, and if you can see there is a groove. Don't know if you can see the groove along here.
Can see, well, yeah, can you see it there, David?
Can you see this groove? Yeah. Okay. If I pick it up, you should see it even better. It's kind of, I'll put it against this, maybe you might see it. It's along here, that groove. Yeah. Now I would go back in with my cell pin at home and I would make it much smaller and much thinner. Because remember, if you've got a wire this size to go up, this is already too thick. And if you had a small petal, so if you were doing something like a hydrangea petal, which is only going to be here, it's much too thick at this side. So I would keep going in and rolling it out until I got it to the size that I wanted it.
No problem, Maria. Maria's saying thank you for the recipe and the tutorials. She can't wait to give it a go.
Okay, so you can still, so this
Thanks,
groove
Gail.
then is quite small.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, and then again, you would come back down and you would put this over with the groove in the middle. Okay, and that is how I do it all the time for when I'm doing competitions, because when you're doing competitions, you don't want to have grooves that you can see on the back. Okay, then somebody else asked me how would I colour. So you can use your gel colours, okay, but another way of doing it is if you put a little bit of Trex. Now I'm just going to grab a little bit of Trex or Crisco, remember it's
both the same, really.
Both the same thing. Okay, so I put a little bit of Trex out here. I'm just going to turn around here and just get some colour, some dust, double dust, glitters, food colours, squares. Can't remember where they all are now.
Oh, they're in the other brush, I think.
Food paints, I don't want it at the top too hard.
We put stuff back in the wrong press. Food colour there up the top.
Now I want a dust.
Oh, you want dust? Glitters and dusts there in the second one. Okay. Sorry, everyone.
Sorry
Technical difficulties.
Now I'll colour it green so everybody can see the green. So I have my green dust. So if I was going to do this for a leaf, okay, I put a little bit and just tap a little bit out.
Patricia said she's just made some successfully and it's now in the freezer.
Oh, very good. Well done. Okay, so I now have my dust in the Trex. Okay, and I just kind of paddle it with the knife just to make it into an actual soft, squidgy paste.
Lots of squidginess tonight.
It'll be our new word for tonight. Squidginess.
Squidgy.
Okay.
Bouncy squidginess.
So you can see how green it is here. So I pick that up and then I just add that into my paste. Okay. And I just knead it in. And I don't worry too much if it kind of squelches out a little bit and gets on your hands, because it's in the Trex, it'll actually wash off. Though we're washing our hands so often nowadays.
Nothing will stick.
Okay, and if it's too light, I'll just add another little bit in. You could add dust straight in, but I found before that you add in your dust and then you come down, you roll it out the next day and there's tiny little speckles of colour. So this kind of get rid of all those speckles. So I would have a light green here. So it depends on the colour. And remember that you're going to be dusting anyway. So once you start with a lighter colour. Okay. And that is green. Okay. So I just want to show you one or two other techniques, and really just to show you what we will be doing in all our other many millions of tutorials that Karen and I have planned.
Yes, the many millions of them.
We have lots of time at home now to think about what we could do and can do, and if you've got any ideas or any flowers that you might like to see, please post away.
Yeah, or even if there's any tools you want demonstrated or anything like that. Any ideas you might have that you'd like to see on a tutorial or anything, let us know.
So I'm just going to cut out a petal. It doesn't have to be, it won't be wired. It's just to show you different techniques. Okay, so if I mention something when I'm doing the flower next week, you'll remember what I'm actually talking about, or maybe not. So I'm just going to pick a peony petal. Again, cut it so you can hear the scratch.
Anna Murphy's asking if we can get Trex in the baking section in Super Value. I don't
No,
think
you can't. So. You can only get it in the cake decorating shop. So Karen, I know, has...
Yeah, we have the Trex and the Crisco. I don't know of anywhere else in the Republic that sells it. I know you can get it up the north.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of us want to be travelling right now. Oh, Edwina, Patricia and the sea holly. Lovely. That's...
that would be for the advanced class, I'm afraid.
Sea hollies are not a popular flower in
Just to
Caker's
fill everybody
world.
in, there's a joke in the flower class. I usually ask, coming towards the end of one of our 6-week classes, what everybody would like to learn in the next class. And somebody suggested a sea holly.
Yes, let's not mention anyone in particular, shall we, Patricia?
So we began to make the sea holly, which was really easy in the mould, except it kept popping out of the mould. And then there was like 200 little pieces of wire that had to go into each little hole, and then each little hole had to be...
I think we actually have one lined up there.
Yes. So
Yes.
look at the sea holly here.
This is the sea holly.
Okay.
All individual wires. And
then the end of each little wire had to be painted in 2 or 3 different colours. So that was...
Gail says Crisco is available in Super Value in Lucan.
Ah, there we go.
I never knew that. There you go. Makes it even handier to get now. Okay, so
Sorry, just there was a question there. Valentina's asking, could she add gel colour tomorrow after 24 hours in the fridge?
Yes, she could. Yes, yeah. You can add it. You can add it at any stage. You can add it at any stage. But if you know that you're going to colour the whole, or you need a lot of leaves, for instance, if you're going to do a big wedding cake, and you have lots of leaves, I would just colour the whole lot green when I'm making it. But other than that, you can just cut it up and then colour it as you need it, and it can be the gel colours as well.
No problem, Gail. She's asking for a vein board.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just going to show you how to soften. Okay. So this is the ball tool. Now I have a metal ball tool at home that I use, and it's really, really, really heavy, and I find it's really, really good. I have a problem with my hand here, so I find if I go around it with the big ball tool, I need to go around it once or twice. Okay. So what you do is you put your ball tool on the edge of the petal here, so not all the way out here and not all the way in, and you kind of hold it like you would a pencil, and you don't hold your petal, and you just move it along like that. Okay. Okay. So to soften, sorry, excuse me.
To do that into your elbow?
Yes.
Anyone want to say? Yeah, she is in her elbow.
Stop it. So I've lost my train of thought.
You're
softening the edge. So when you've cut the edge, the edge can be a little bit rough. So I just go around that to soften it. If you do it the wrong way, okay, what you do is you go on the inside and you actually end up with kind of, I don't know, like a crevice all the way in there. So you don't want that. You want so half on the board and half on the petal. And the heavier you go, the frillier your petal will get. So if you're making a rose to start with, the rose petals are not really frilly, so you just soften lightly. Okay, and never hold on to it. If you hold on to it, you kind of stretch it going all different ways. And then if you lean really heavy on it, see the way it's already going frilly? Okay, so again, I'll just do it on that side. So the heavier you go, the frillier it gets. Okay, so it would depend on the flower that you're making. If you're somewhere or you don't happen to have a tool, I've often just put it up onto my finger like that, and with my thumb, I've just gone around it like that. So it depends on what it is that you're actually working with. And recently I was told by a physiotherapist to actually not always be using your thumb, to use other fingers as well. Okay, but your fingers don't like it.
Nope.
Okay, so just around like that, we'll do exactly the same thing. Okay, if you wanted to frill it with a veining tool, so I'll just put these out of the way. So my veining tool is here. So if you look at this tool here, it's got the little grooves on the end.
This is a gem veining
Yeah,
tool.
it's also called the smiley tool. People probably know better for smiley tool. Okay. Yeah. But when you're doing this, if you want to frill the edge, if you press this down like that, but you must keep this, can you see it there? You must keep this up. Okay, so if you do it like that, you're doing it incorrectly. You must keep it up like that. So I put it down to the edge of the board, and if you roll it back and forth like that, okay, you get a vein, but you also get a frill. Okay, all the way
So
around.
you can see the tip of it isn't actually pressed down.
So if I do it the wrong way,
that's the wrong way.
That's the wrong way. Okay, this is the right way. So it's kind of up. So bring your petal right to the edge of your board. Okay. And around like that.
And you can see the tip is slightly up.
Yeah. Okay. Another way of doing it, okay, if you put it over your index finger, so bring your petal over, and your wire could be on this as well. Put it right over your finger like that. Okay. And get your tool and go back and forth. And if your finger is sticky, put a little bit of corn flour on. And that will definitely ensure that you don't put this point down.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is frilling. Now, we'll be doing a lot of frilling when I do the peony next week. Okay. So on Monday at 8 o'clock, we're going to do the peony rose. The cutters that I'm going to use are, now I don't know where I got the set from, but they're mix and matches of sets that I use. So there are 4 cutters in this set, but if you have a set at home and it's got 3 cutters, that's absolutely fine. If you don't have peony roses, you can use a large rose cutter, okay? And what we do is we cut it with the scissors so that it makes it wavy, okay? For years and years and years, I made roses, or I made peony roses, and I never had a peony rose cutter. It's only when I actually started doing a lot of classes that I decided to go and get a few sets, okay? So you can do it with a rose cutter.
And we do sell peony rose cutters downstairs.
Yes, you do. Okay. The veiner that I use, I don't actually have a peony rose.
Oh,
veiner.
sorry. Patricia's asking, should they have the centres made?
Not necessarily. I don't know when I do the tutorial if you'll actually get the whole rose made, the whole peony rose made, because
Rinse the elbow.
talking too much.
Do you want water?
Yeah, I actually will get a glass of water. Sorry. I'm coughing over everything. The demonstration or the tutorial will be for about an hour. Okay, so I will already have spent an hour at home making all those petals, and I'll have spent maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours before that making the centres. So what I could do is that I will show you how to make it, and if you want to have a go of making it, and then when I come back on maybe Wednesday next week with the next flower, we can talk about any difficulties or any problems that you encountered when you were making it.
Sounds good.
Because I just don't think, I think you'd be a little bit rushed. Sorry, now I'm just going to grab a swig of water. That's better. Okay, so the veiner then that I use is a hibiscus veiner. Okay, when I'm making flowers, I try and, you know, if I'm going to buy a veiner, I try and use it for other things rather than just buy one veiner for one flower. Okay, so girls in the classes again will know that I just usually have tons of cutters and I just mix and match. So like a lily cutter, you could do leaves or things like that. Okay, so they're the 2 things that I will be using next Monday. And I will be using the paste that we made tonight to do the peony rose. So if you want to have a go even over the weekend, and if you do have a problem with it, you can, you know, bombard us with questions on Monday before we do the peony rose. And then the next one I'm hoping to do is a rose. So if you see the rose here, this is actually a class that I normally run it with Karen. It's the stages of the rose. So I'll have different stages of the rose so that you can see them. And then we'll start with kind of doing the bud, and we'll work it all the way up to the full rose that we have there. And then, as I said, if there's any suggestions that anybody would like to see flowers being made or cakes being decorated or, I don't know, marbled cakes, Karen's very good at that, you can let us know.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we are for tonight.
We're just going to do a quick recap.
We're going to do a quick recap.
Yeah,
okay.
For anyone who missed the beginning, we said we'd do a recap.
So, 725 grams of icing sugar that's sieved. Okay, put it aside in a bowl. In your mixing bowl with your K-beater, break up 125 grams of pasteurized eggs. Now, they can be fresh eggs that you just separate, or they could be the carton of eggs that you just buy, and I know you can buy them in Super Value. Okay. Break up the egg, so breaking up is just beating them a little bit, okay? Then slowly add in your icing sugar. Beat it on for about 3 to 4 minutes.
Patricia said a big thanks to David.
Thank you, Patricia.
Beat it for 3 to 4 minutes until it reaches the consistency of royal icing. So basically you can really turn the bowl upside down and they won't fall out. Okay. Then you turn down the power to about 1 to 2 and slowly add in your Tyler powder, and it goes to kind of nearly a spongy consistency. Okay. Take it out of the bowl, put it onto your board, add in your Trex as you're kneading it. If you find that it is really, really sticky, okay, add some of the extra 100 grams of icing sugar that you have. Sometimes, you know, you might make it 10 times and it's the same every time you make it, and then the 11th time you make it and it's either a little bit too thick or it's a little bit too thin. So sometimes with the egg whites, if you don't measure them accurately, you might need that extra little bit of icing sugar. Then cover it in a little bit of Trex, wrap it in cling film and into a Ziploc bag. And if you want to colour the whole lot of it, you can colour it before you add in the Tyler powder. Okay, and then it'll keep for 6 months in a Ziploc bag in the fridge, or if I remember correctly, I think it's 1.5 years to 2 years in the freezer. Okay.
Edna is just asking, she's saying she'd love to learn how to do daffodils or tulips.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, coming into that time of year as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any questions before we?
Okay, last chance to ask a quick question before we sign off.
Yep, Adam has David.
Oh. No. Okay, everybody. Oh yeah, Rachel says, oh yes, tulips would be great.
Tulips would be great.
All right, so thanks everybody for watching in, and you can rewatch it later if you like, and let Deirdre sign off.
Keep washing the hands.
Oh yes.
Self-isolating, and just make flowers.
Yes.
And stay safe.
And just say them and do cakes. And a quick thank you to David. Thank you.
Wasn't expecting this, but
yeah, lovely David. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody.
See you all on Monday.
Oh, hang on 1 second. Gail is asking, is it okay for 6 months with raw egg?
Yes, it's fine.
Yeah. Aline is asking, does the heat make a difference to the paste over the summer?
I didn't find any difference, and I made a huge big wedding cake, or the flours for a huge big wedding cake over the summer last year, and I used all Nicholas Lodge's recipe, and it was absolutely perfect.
Oh, that was the one with Lulu, wasn't
that was
it?
the Lulu, yeah.
And then Colette's saying, looking forward to Monday. Well done all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope we did okay. Okay, see you now everybody.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye bye.